Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today's episode is a part of the Mastering Excellence series. This is a concept that comes from my background in neurolinguistic programming, where we learn that there is a structure to excellence. And when you understand the structure of how somebody's achieving exceptional results in some particular area of their life or business, you can then apply that same structure and get similar results. So today, my guest is Angela Foster. Now, you have probably heard Angela on the podcast again, on the podcast before, I meant to say. And she's here back today as an expert, and I'm super excited to dig into this topic. So let me give you a little bit about her background. After 20 years as an executive in the fashion and beauty space, Angela Foster is now a petite style coach. Busy, high-achieving petite women hire her to create a closet filled with clothes that fit their height and flatter their body shape. Her clients are confident in being visible and representing their business and personal brand in any professional setting, all while eliminating the frustration and decision fatigue busy professional women experience getting dressed in the morning. They never again stand in their closet and think, I have nothing to wear. Angela Foster, welcome to the show, friend.
Nikki, thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you back to have this conversation. Now, I have a little bit of some insight because you and I have worked together now for about 2 years. Is it been 2 years now?
I think so.
Lucky me.
Lucky me. So.
I adore you as a client. I adore you as a person. And I absolutely love everything that you talk about from this place of what does it mean to really show up to represent yourself and your brand? And you have such a unique perspective on it. So today we're going to be talking about how to show up on sales calls in person and virtually. But before we actually get into the meat of the recording, will you tell everybody just a little bit more about you that goes beyond the bio and
Sure.
Who you're working with and how you're working with clients and all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me. It's getting to talk to you, whether it's in a coaching session or on your podcast, is always the highlight of my day. So yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So I work with short girls who are executives, entrepreneurs. They and I will go through my 5-step system so that they know what clothes they should have in their closet, what clothes they can get rid of. So it's easy in the morning just to grab something, throw it on, and know that they look great. Yeah. In a nutshell, I work one-on-one with them. Most clients start off with a VIP session where we walk through the 5 steps so that they can leave and feel really confident creating their own closet. I do have clients who are super busy, don't like to shop, think it's great that they have this knowledge, but don't necessarily want to, be the ones responsible for putting their own closet together.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the clients that would hire a sales coach or a business coach or a personal trainer for, an expert to take over that piece so that they can focus on what's really important to them.
So you're the expert that comes in and does that for them. I love it.
Yes.
And you have some courses too.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And my one-on-one coaching clients get access to all of them because, sometimes a lot can be covered in a 45-minute session. So it's nice to be able to go back and refresh.
Mm-hmm.
My 5-step Spark system starts off with body shape, because that's where all confidence in your closet and in your clothes comes from, is knowing the styles and the silhouettes that are going to flatter your unique body shape. Not only these are the ones that are going to look awesome on me, but these are the ones that I should avoid or stay away from. And it just makes everything so much faster. Like it tells you, I mean, like all of a sudden when you realize the shapes that look great on you, you're like, oh, that's why I love that dress. That's why I always feel amazing when I have that on. Oh, and that's why, such and such style does not look good on me. I try to make it work. I see it on other women and it looks great on them, but it doesn't look great on me. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And once it becomes that like systematic formula, it's so much easier to walk away from things, whether it be a trend or just a style that you're seeing a lot in the store. It just makes it so much easier to walk away from it and say, hey, it's okay. Looks great on somebody else. That someone
Mm-hmm.
is not me. So
Mm-hmm.
let's keep moving.
Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the topic we're going to dig in today
Yes.
specifically, which of course I love, is really
Mhm.
about this idea of how do you show up on sales calls in person and virtually to
Mhm.
really put your best foot forward, to show up in that way that represents you and your brand. So that's what
Mhm.
we're going to dig into. You
Yes.
ready?
I love it. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to do this from your perspective. So if I were to stand in for you for a day, what would I have to do or how would I have to think in order to show up to represent my brand and myself in the best possible way on a sales call, whether it's in person and or virtually? And you can answer it in two different ways if you want, or you take the question and run.
Yeah. So, and I love this question because I love your Mastering Excellence series. So I was
Thank
like,
you.
yay, I hope she asked me this one. So when I wake up in the morning, it's all about two things. Number one is how can I plant the seeds for confidence with my clients, with potential clients, with my team, with coworkers, all of that. It's all about what can I do to get them to a place where I just feel like confident women make the world a better place. So what can I do to spread that? And I mean, you've been talking a lot in the series lately, which I love, about how to show up more confidently in sales.
Hmm.
So when you're not worried about how your hair looks, what the outfit looks like, you know, do you look like somebody who would charge that much, or do you look like somebody would pay that much for their service and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Then it really allows you to be present in the moment and pay attention to the potential client or the existing client that you're just given, love to. So it's all from a place. I mean, like while I talk about clothes and style, it really all comes down to confidence
Mm,
because yes, we absolutely dress so we can feel great. But our clothes send an instantaneous message to potential clients. And, I mean, we've all been there and seen that and been like, oh, wow, she looks amazing. She looks successful. She looks like she could really help me. And then we've also had, seen the opposite and thought, I don't know. Do I like her? Could she help me? That type of thing. So
yeah.
once you're firmly in that place of she looks like an expert and she looks like she charges a lot, it puts you in a different mindset.
Okay. So you said two things. So you're planting seeds of confidence.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. I love
That's
it.
that's
Oh,
yeah. I it just it, you see two women and one of them is confident and the way they show up not only in their business and growing their empire and all of that, but even with their family, their friends, just at the everywhere. It's just a confident woman is going to be happier, she's going to be more successful and all of that, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And I just think if we all just try to spread that as much as possible, like the world would be even more amazing.
yes, I agree. All right. So what specifically would I have to do then
Mhm.
if I'm thinking about showing up on a sales call? And I'm going to take this one from a virtual standpoint. What
Okay.
are some things that I have to do
Mhm.
when I'm showing up on that sales call to really make sure that I'm presenting the
Right.
confidence?
Yep. So a lot of it has to do with what industry that you're in.
Uh-huh.
I tell this story. It made such an impact on me. So, and this was probably 2 years ago. So we were well into the virtual, like we understood Zoom and all of that. And I had signed up for a VIP coaching session with an expert. And I'd been looking forward to it all day long. Like I had my list of questions and I was like, I know what we're going to do. And I was super excited about it. And she showed up and she said, oh gosh, so sorry. I just got back from the gym. I haven't had a chance to take a shower yet. And And I don't remember how much the session was, but I remember at the time, like it gave me pause before I signed up for it. So it was, multiple
Mhm.
four figures. So, and I was like, oh, I have been looking forward to this all day, and you couldn't even leave the gym 10 minutes early to take a damn shower. Oops. But you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now the session turned out amazing. I learned a lot. She was just as awesome as I expected her to be. However, if I maybe hadn't had such confidence in her and her abilities, it would have really given me pause, and it
Mhm.
could have totally set up the session in a bad light. So, if she'd been my fitness instructor, it would have been a whole other thing, but
Yeah.
she was a social media manager. So, you know what I mean? So it was a little bit different situation.
Yeah.
So just all of that to say, it depends on what your brand says,
Uh-huh.
and what industry that you're in. Again, if you're a fitness coach, showing up in, yoga pants is totally fine. If you're a style coach, you should probably slap some makeup on or whatever
Yeah.
before you turn on the camera.
Yeah. I also wonder about that too, because there are times where um you shouldn't comment on things, right? Like, what if she had just not said anything about not taking a shower and coming from the gym? Maybe, I don't know if it was super obvious if she's like pouring sweat off her face and, what, but had she not commented on it, it wouldn't have planted that seed either
Right.
in your mind
Yes.
of like, oh, she didn't even prepare for this session.
Yep. Yep. I also think that there is a price, like a price issue. If you're selling something that's relatively inexpensive, $100, $500, something like that, your expectation level of the potential coach or, whoever interview what is lower. But
Hmm.
if you want to charge those high value rates,
Hmm.
then your image needs to step up every time you raise your prices, so that when you say, oh, my prices start at $15,000, then you're like, well, of course, look at her. Of course they do. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have expected anything less. I mean, she looks amazing and pulled together and
Pulled
polished and all of
together.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that I had somebody hire me. And one of the first things that she said is, I went and watched some of your videos and I could just tell by the way that you dress on camera that you're successful and you know what you're talking about. And I was like, what? So I dug into it a little bit with her, and she had commented on a few things. She had commented on the jewelry that I had on.
I was just going to say your necklaces.
Yeah, she was commenting on
Uh-huh.
necklaces and she was commenting on colors on camera. And now I work with a stylist who picks out my jewelry and who picks
Right.
out colors
Yes.
for me on camera. And so I was like, and she turned it like she's still a client to this day, actually. She's been a great client over the years, and she's been a client for years. And she comes and she does these like deep dive kind of intensives with me. And then she goes back into her business. And then she comes back when she's ready. And I haven't actually broke down to see how much money like that one client has come and brought into the business, but it's definitely way more than what I've ever paid my stylist.
Right. And that's one client.
One client. And
Yes.
that's somebody who would comment on it, right? Like there's
Yes.
probably other people who might not comment on it.
Yes.
So,
Could not agree more, Nikki. So, a couple of things that, I mean, and this pops up a lot when I'm talking to clients, but I call it the 7-Eleven rule. I don't know if I've ever said anything to you about it
I
before.
don't recognize this. So say more,
Oh,
please. What's the
yay.
7-Eleven rule?
So, strangers, when they meet you for the first time, make 11 decisions about you in
Mm,
7 seconds.
okay, I do know this.
And I mean, and it keeps like as our attention span continues to decline. I'm sure it's, it might be down to 5 seconds now, but I like the convenience store analogy. It's easy for me to remember. But you think about that, and who knows what they all are? Like they could be, you know, whatever. What was she thinking with that lipstick color? I don't like that. But
Right.
when it's in a business situation, to your point, specifically in a sales call, whether it be in person or virtually, that it's do I like her? do I want to hire her? Is she really worth that much money? Does she really look like she knows what she's talking about? And going back to the sweaty girl, you know what I mean? Like, do I want to just, sit there and watch her red face and her perspire?
Right. Right.
So,
Such a good, yeah. And I think that's important for people to think about. Now, what about this idea of background?
oh, yes.
Not just the person themselves on camera, because I
Yes.
also think when you're showing up for sales calls, you should be thinking about that piece of it. And I'd love your take on this.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that you and I might have even talked about this before. It's is it Melina Palmer? For
Yeah.
some reason, yeah. And I thought she just said it so beautifully. And I think a lot of people feel this, and until she articulated it, I don't think that they necessarily understood the deal with it. But that whole virtual background piece really undermines a potential new client's trust in you.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it sends that message that you're hiding something behind you, and what's going on back there, and why don't you want me to see it, and that type of thing. It happened to me and she was a client of mine, but she had that, remember when those, like, we were first doing the virtual backgrounds, and it was like the bridge in San Francisco. I don't remember what the name of it is, but you know what I'm talking about, the
The
Golden
Golden
Gate
Gate.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Yes. She had,
I'm like, trivia. I finally got an answer.
so she had the Golden Gate Bridge behind her, and then her dog starts barking and her tea kettle goes off. And I'm like, but I thought you were on the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, not really, but you know what I'm saying? It just it just sends this message that it's a little bit of a dichotomy, I think. And then when you're like, it's your sales call and a potential client is on with you, you want to make sure that your background is saying, like, speaks to what your brand is all about, what you're all about as a coach or as a consultant, and that type of thing. A mutual friend of ours always laughs when we're on virtual calls because she's in her spare bedroom and there's like it's like a little pull-out bed is behind her, and she always laughs about it because she's like, this is not like the image that I need to send or whatever. So you just want to be, make sure that your background is reinforcing your brand statement and not undermining it unintentionally. So with color and with, whatever you have on the walls and that type of thing. Did that help?
I love that. Yes, that's perfect. So I just want to give a shout out. So because we mentioned Melina Palmer, whose podcast is The Brainy Business, and she's written some incredible books. And she does talk about this idea of like, are you diminishing trust when you're not showing your background? And it does kind of take people out of a call with you or the experience with you when you've got this really beautiful virtual background, which they're getting better, right? They're way better now than they were like 4 years ago.
Sure.
And then your dog starts walking around in the background, and now you get this weird like dog in and out image. And it's like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So I love that you're talking about like, is your background representing your brand, and is it contributing to your confidence? And I get it that like not everybody has the ideal space in their house for, for sales calls, but yet it's a sales call,
right?
And you should be earning the person's business. So that means you might want to spend a little extra time. How do you feel about, just because I feel like this question's going to come up, how do you feel about the lift, when people put behind them like a shade, or I don't know if that's the right term. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
I do.
The little like bifold, trifold things. Yeah.
So, yes. And those used to be super popular too. Like, you know what I mean? I think that that's better than a virtual background.
I agree.
And I also think it just tells people, hey, listen, I'm whatever, like I don't have a ton of like private space just for this, but we are a little bit secluded. I think it feels like, that something's separating. So people aren't going to like overhear what we're talking about. It gives that illusion of privacy, even if it may or may not be true. But I think that's so much better than a virtual background. To your point, it's distracting for both, you and your potential client when your earrings are disappearing because of the virtual background, or your hair is disappearing, or like half your shoulder. It's just all those weird things that happen that just take you both out of the moment. And from the salesperson standpoint, it can really like decrease your momentum. Like, hey, I was really on a flow, and then I realized that half my face was gone. And you're like, yikes. Or my ear's missing, or,
Yes, yes. Or yes, I have so many comments about that.
Yeah, we all
I'm gonna
do.
move on.
We
Yeah.
all have
So
horror stories about it. Yeah.
I do think I think this is an important conversation and to think about. And if somebody's listening and they're like, but I love my virtual background. Okay. And challenge yourself to be open-minded here, to really hear what Angela is sharing, because this idea is, are you projecting the image that you most want to project? And is that confidence, are you doing things that are actually diminishing your confidence in any way, which can hurt your chances of earning that sale if you're not showing up from a place of confidence and representing yourself and your brand? And is that going to impact what you're charging and all of these things?
It could also, I mean, yes, our confidence when we're in a sales call because we want to earn their business, and it was, we work to get them on the call with us and all of that. That's super critical. But we also need to look at our potential clients' confidence in us, right?
Yeah.
And say, for example, you're looking for a sales coach, and there's a gajillion. I mean, none of us are the only ones in our field doing what we do. I mean, goodness knows I'm not, I don't know anybody who is, and so you sit there and you think about it and you're like, okay, fine. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm looking for a sales coach, and 2 bajillion people come up. Right.
Yeah, right.
And then I start to see Nikki, because Nikki's consistent and she posts 3 times a week. And, she always, like, I see the sales Maven and the logo is, so I see her a couple of times and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that sales coach. I was meaning to check out her podcast. And then, I see you 3 or 4 more times and it reminds me, oh yeah, okay. So now I'm actually going to pull the trigger and I'm going to listen to her podcast. And then I see you 3 or 4 more times, or I listen to your 3 or 4 episodes of your podcast, and then I sign up for your mailing list. And now you have me, right? But it was because there was that consistency, not only in your visual image, but then also with the way that you show up. You take that, and out of that 20 bajillion sales coaches that were out there, 99% of them didn't show up consistently. So I never even bothered learning who they were. So when I was in the market to hire somebody, they weren't even on my radar, because, they just aren't consistent. But with you see that consistent image. And then when I'm in the mood to hire somebody, I reach out to you first.
Mm. Are you ready to uplevel your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now.
So it's that, it's so incredibly noisy. And with the competition, what it is, anything that we can do to instill confidence in our potential clients and to become recognizable so they get to know our names and then, get to that point where they want to work with us is critical.
So I want to kind of dig a little bit deeper into where you just went with that, because I am such a believer in, I do think consistency is crucial. Mm-hmm. So if I'm you and I'm thinking about how am I showing up on my sales calls from, in person or virtually, and in order to exude the confidence, what do you think about for you from a consistency standpoint are the things that you're thinking, what are the things that you're thinking about to ensure that you're being consistent?
Right. I love this question so much. So I work with clients on representing their personal brand, right? Mm-hmm. And some of them come to me and say, oh, my brand colors are navy and yellow. And I would never show up. I would never have a picture taken without a pop of yellow on, or without, whatever, wearing navy, could be any color.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. And that is a terrific first step. When we talk about how noisy it is and really making an impact, there's a couple of things. The first one is, and I'll just like give you this little scenario. So say there's two women and they look identical and they are both dressed in all black. And one of them has on black leggings, a black leather moto jacket, and then like some badass black boots. The other woman has on a black pencil skirt and a black blazer, and then like some kind of like blouse underneath it. Color is great. And it is definitely the first step when it comes to dressing your brand. However, those two women are sending very different messages about who they are as entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, et cetera, whatever their position is. So it goes beyond just the color itself and being consistent with what message your brand is sending. So one of the exercises that I send my clients through is, if they've worked with a branding expert before, we go through the brand thesaurus that their branding expert gave them. If there's a listener and she hasn't worked with a branding expert, that's completely fine. You can come up with like, what are three adjectives that would describe your personal or your business brand? Is it edgy? Is it conservative? Is it, I don't know, trustworthy, professional, whatever those are? Pick the three words. And then what clients and I do is we work to translate those words into a consistent style so that you're always showing up not only in your brand colors, but also sending that, oh my gosh, she's so edgy and cool. I know she's going to come up with like the best social media graphics for me ever, or, whatever.
Right.
Or she's like super pulled together and polished. I trust her as an accountant. I mean, you can take that
I love this so much, this three
good.
adjectives,
Yes.
and thinking about translating that into a consistent style.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's like, I know what my adjectives are and I know what I would like them to be. But it's like, I really also, I'm just going to say, I want my three adjectives. These are not me, and I'll never change my style for this, but I really wish they were bougie,
Yes.
edgy, and cool. Like, oh my gosh, I wish that was me. That's so not
Right.
me. And it's not my brand either.
Right. Isn't that funny? It was when you said that, I was like, oh, wow, if I could pick a word that I'm not, but I would love to, it would be cool. Like, I've never been cool. It's just not, yes, but that's all right. Somebody
My
else is
word is
cool and
bougie.
I'm cheering her on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've always wanted someone to describe me as bougie. I don't know why either, but I just love the word. And it seems super, like, it does seem cool to me. Somebody who's like bougie, but it's just so not, it's just not me. Like, she just doesn't live inside me, that bougie girl that I wish I was. Yeah. Okay.
But you bring up a good point. And when it comes to showing up consistently, and I think one of the, well, there's several different roadblocks when it comes to entrepreneurs and executives showing up consistently to represent their brand. Their first one is just what you said. We would love to be cool. I would, like, we would love to be those cool girls. We're not. One of the nice things about getting older is that you just accept it and move on. And then you can, you're like, hey, listen, it hasn't happened in 51 years. Not going to happen today. Like, not going to be cool.
Yep.
We just accept it. Right.
Yeah.
But when when your three words really are authentic to you, and you love how those three words translate into your brand style, then you can appreciate it, appreciate it in others. So the authentic thing, when it really, and you've probably experienced this too, and I know you've had clients who've experienced this, that, like when they do just accept, like, hey, this is my authentic self, this is how I show up, it does just make everything easier, including being consistent, whether it be, newsletter, emails, or social media and that type of thing. the other thing is that when you have those outfits in your closet that you know represent your brand so beautifully, it makes it easier when you want to take a quick pic for social, or you want to like do a quick reel for Instagram, or what, whatever the situation is. It just makes it easier because you're not sitting there like in your closet going, what the heck? I don't have anything. Like, or am I going to wear this same thing again?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because I think, well, depending on your business, I know for me, I spend so much time on camera, and I'm so grateful to get to work with my clients virtually. But
Mhm.
being on camera for me does mean that there is some prep that goes into it.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
I had, my stylist, she's also a friend, so she comes to stay with me, and she's always like, "Let's pull some things out of the closet," right? But it does make it so much easier when you're going to your closet to pull something to go like, is this a camera ready type thing? And is it projecting the brand and the image? Because I know that I sometimes look at when I'm shopping, right? Like sometimes I look at things that are super like flowy
Yes.
and they're so beautiful, or they've got a little bit of like a bohemian type
Yep. Yep.
feel to them. And I
Mhm.
think, oh, I would love what that would feel like on me, but it's not going to translate from the brand standpoint. And so I
Yep.
remember her pulling some of those things in our first closet edit and saying, like, how does this represent you? She's great at asking questions. Like she holds it up, like, how does this represent you and your brand, Nikki? And I'm like, well, it represents the girl I wish I was certain days, right? Like it's like, well, that
I
doesn't
love it.
really work.
Yes.
So
But you bring up such a good point. So, for the listeners who are thinking, so if I am on virtual 99% of the time, because, so many of
yeah,
us are now,
yeah,
that does bring up a good point with what looks good on you in person doesn't always look awesome on you in Zoom, via Zoom, or
yeah.
whether you're doing a LinkedIn Live or YouTube video and all of that. So there is that fine line. So sometimes what is your favorite outfit in real life isn't your favorite outfit when you're filming. So a couple of tips for that if you
Yes,
want me to share
please.
that type of thing.
I do.
Clean lines are typically the best. The more, and of course, I mean, I hate to make blanket statements because a lot of it has to do with your body shape also, but the cleaner the lines, the better off that you'll be. To your point, if there's like tons of ruffles and frills and, loose flowy fabric and all of that, that little box, it's like too much is going on with
Hmm.
you in that little box, and you need to keep it, like, give the people one thing to focus on, and it shouldn't probably be the ruffles on your blouse. It needs to be your face, needs to be your message,
Mm,
what you're trying to share, what information you're trying to share with them. So yes, keep it clean. The other thing is like, if it's a media appearance or you're on somebody else's, like if you're on the news or you're on somebody else's set, always make sure you know what their background looks like, because you want to make sure that you don't clash and that you work with the story that their brand is telling. So, a lot of times I'll tell people, look at national news, the women on national news. They do a beautiful job. You'll notice a lot of solid colors, not a lot of big, loud prints, not a lot going on. They keep
hmm.
it really tailored, structured, and typically monochromatic. And that's the best thing. And also, they don't disappear into their background. A lot of news shows have a blue background. So you want to make sure that, what you're probably don't want to wear blue, but something that
Right.
complements with blue. But yeah, just, keep that in mind. Same thing with stage presentations. Make sure that you know what the background is like, because you don't want to clash and you also don't want to disappear.
That's
That would
such a
stink.
good, yes, that is such a good point um, to think about. So just to reiterate, clean lines, know what the background is, and you probably aren't going to go wrong if you decide to go monochromatic and
100%.
clean lines, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
those are really good tips. What else
And
haven't we talked about specifically around this idea of showing up with confidence and representing your brand, representing yourself in a sales call, whether it be in person or virtually, that you want to share with us today?
So going back to the really increasing your know, like, and trust factor in a noisy environment, there's some women who nail a signature so incredibly well. For example, like if I said Mel Robbins to 10 women, the majority of the response that I would get would be her big, bold black glasses. Like that would be like, what stands out about her? Oh, those glasses. If I said Anna Wintour, the 10 out of 10 women would most likely say like her very precise geometric bob. Maybe they would say her big sunglasses. But I mean, she has like a couple of very static signatures. One of the things I think women feel pressured into is, and I don't know if it's just because seasonal trends or whatever, but they feel pressured to change it up all the time, to not really embrace their signature, when as entrepreneurs and business owners, we need to be just the opposite. The more consistent and repetitive that we are, the more people will again get to remember, learn our name and then remember our name and then be willing to jump on a sales call with us. So I have a client and I adore her, and she has like the figure that I want to have, like curvy and vivacious, like the whole thing. And we were talking, and it was when we first started working together, and she made some comment about, I love wrap dresses, but I don't want to be the girl that always wears a wrap dresses. And I was like, why not? Wrap dresses look amazing on you. Why wouldn't you want to be the girl with, that always has an amazing, Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress on? That sounds crazy good to me. She's like, oh, okay. Well, and so then, so instead of always feeling obligated to change it up, which we do sometimes, like embrace it, whatever that is, whatever your signature is. And it can be anything. But it helps reinforce everything we're trying to do.
I am so happy that you just shared that. And now I'm like, what's my signature? So I'm wondering, is that something that you work with your clients on to help them figure out, like you just did with this client, like the wrap dress thing? Like I would love for somebody to tell me, this is your signature thing. I'd be so happy with that. Okay. All right. Something to aspire to.
No, absolutely. And it's one of and it's like the fourth step in my system. It's because we have to get, like we need to get through the body shape and, like finding pants and all of that. But yeah, when we get to accessories, because that's typically what a signature falls into, is some sort of is some sort of accessory. And to the virtual piece of it, right? It needs to be something from your boobs up, because if it's your shoes, which I love a good pair of shoes, but nobody's ever going to see my shoes. So it stinks as a signature, right? But so what from your boobs up could be your signature, and it can be your hair, it can be your earrings, it can be, all sorts of stuff. But we have a fun time, determining what it is, because it needs to be something that they love, because they're going to be wearing it like every single day. And not only that, but eventually you'll have a plethora of them. So it's important that, you really feel confident in it.
So fun.
Yeah, it is.
All right. All right. So as we wrap up, because I know I could go on and on, I swear you and I could sit in a room for probably 3 days and I would never feel bored talking to you.
I love that. Nikki, that is the best compliment ever. I'm so glad this is being recorded, because I'm going to just cut that snippet out and play it on repeat in my mind.
I just adore you so much. So as we wrap up today, I have a couple quick questions. I always call it the little something extra. I know, because you listen to the podcast. I know you know this. Yes. What is something that brings you pleasure and or joy right now?
Oh my gosh, my new puppy.
Oh, yes.
I can't even. Archie. He's just the cutest darn thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm so in love, in love.
What kind of puppy is Archie? I haven't got to see Archie yet.
No, you will in a little bit, but I'll show him to you. But he is a rescue puppy. And real quick, he and his 11 brothers and sisters and mom were dumped off at a laundromat in Alabama.
Oh,
I know. And Big Dog Ranch Rescue, who I'm a huge fan, rescued them. And now Archie lives with us in South Florida.
I love it.
I know. I know.
Archie.
I know.
Archie.
And it's love when he can just chew the heck out of you. I don't know if you can see that, and you're like, it's okay. I love you. You're so darn cute. Oh, you peed on me. Oh my God, you're so cute. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. What's one thing that people would be surprised to learn about you? I'm dying to know your answer to this question.
Oh my gosh. Huh. Surprised to know about me. I don't know. I'm really sort of boring. So I wish I could be like, oh, you know what? I am a world champion water skier. Like I wish I could come up with something sexy like that. No, not at all. Um, so I am a vegetarian, haven't eaten meat in probably, I'm going to say 10 years, maybe.
Okay.
It's been a while. Has nothing to do. I grew up in the Midwest. Like we love a good cow in the
Yeah.
Midwest. So it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. It was I read this horrible book called Animal Factory. And I just thought, you know what? If I love animals, I just can't support it. So
Okay. All
yes,
right. I
not to
didn't
be a
actually know that
downer.
about you. All right. That's not a downer. What's something exciting going on in your business right now?
Oh my gosh. So super excited about this. Starting the 27th of December, because it's December now. I don't know when this is gonna air or
It'll
whatever.
air probably early Jan.
Okay. So I'm launching a new one-on-one coaching session called Closet Detox. And
Mm.
there's nothing that makes me more excited than helping a woman clean out like the clothes in her closet that's not working. And more importantly, knowing what, if anything, gaps that we need to fill in so that she can really go in and just getting dressed so fast, so easy. So I'm super excited about that. I know it sounds weird, but
I love that for you because I will say there is nothing like okay. We all want time back, right? We're all like, there's
yes,
never enough time.
yes,
But as a woman, if you stand in front of your closet trying to figure out what to wear for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes every day, I think I
17.
figured this out. It's like you would get back like 40 hours a year,
Yes,
like a whole
yes,
week of vacation of
yes,
not having to do that. So if you've never gifted yourself the idea of a closet detox, oh my gosh, it's life changing to be
it
able to go
is.
in and go, oh, I already got my outfit. I know what it is. I'm not spending any time just standing here going, what am I going to wear today?
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
It
that.
doesn't fit. It's too short. Oh, I have to have the button. Like all of
It's
that
not right for camera. It's like, no,
is
you already know all these things.
yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I'm
Last
super excited.
question. I love
Yes.
that. Okay. So, last question. How can somebody listening right now connect with you? What's the best way?
Oh my gosh. I'm super excited. And this is brand new just for
Oh,
your listeners. I know. So my assistant and I, we just finished up a body shape quiz.
oh,
So, yep, like I can't remember now, 5, 7 questions, quick questions, and then they get redirected to this is your body shape, and you're not an apple, pear, banana, or orange. Just like putting that out there first. No fruit salads. And then, we'll go over like the quick styles and the shapes that look best for you. And they can take the quiz at angelafoster.co/sales maven.
perfect.
I know. I'm so
We'll put
excited.
that in the show notes.
Okay, good.
Go grab your style quiz. What are you? What's your body shape? I love that. Angela,
Mhm.
thank you for being here, my friend.
Nikki, always, you're the highlight of my day.
I just adore you. And for you, the listener, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you were inspired by today. You got some great takeaway. Please connect with myself and with Angela on social media. She's got some great stuff going on social media. So you're going to want to connect with her. We'll have all of her information in the show notes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Wishing you continued success in all you're doing. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.